So
Nelly, you want to start us off? Yeah, great.
the new topic is about preferences, having preferences in life, having preferences in meditation.
And I'll compare it with the Buddhist goal or spiritual goal of having no preference, that we are really looking at in our practice that our preferences become more refined, we're more attuned to them. We're aware of our preferences.
Right. And that's really the point. We're cultivating awareness, and that's one thing we will become more aware of. I'm repeating what you said, but I wanted to underline it or highlight it. Um, and the way this topic came to me, I'm going to jump to this part, is just a couple of days ago. I requested an apple from, but my partner bring me an apple. The cat was sitting on my lap. This is in our house, the excuse for getting service ourselves. And I requested that she just bring me a whole apple, and she sliced it. And I realized, oh, I have a preference here. I really like to eat the apple whole these days. I used to like it sliced, so preferences change like everything else. Very mundane example, but it really brought to light how actually I'm more aware of my preferences than I used to be, rather than
Right.
having less preference.
Right, right, Nellie. And also, as you're telling your story about apples, and we were kind of going back and forth about our preferences, that these preferences have feelings that come with them, that we actually enjoy something, or we don't enjoy it, or we think it's better than something else because of what we like or what we do. That there's a whole lot that comes with a preference. Though sometimes it's just simple, like I just like my apples eaten whole rather than sliced.
Right, and then we could go right to the Buddhist teachings on contact and and also the taste buds um meet up with the apple and it leads to apple consciousness. That's a little I'm joking a bit, but I guess the point being that this is embedded in Buddhism, that there is this experience, and apple consciousness is like it. I enjoy it more. It's a
Right,
process I enjoy more.
right, right. And we can even extend this out to our practice. Like in our practice, many people, myself, I'll speak for myself and Nellie, we have a preference for allowing thinking into the meditation, that and feeling that this is really a way we are wired, or what we say in Buddhism is we have a proclivity for something, that's just really the way it goes for us. And we want to become more aware of our proclivities, because then we don't actually um, compare ourselves as much to others or make other people have the same proclivities. Like there's a way we can avoid harm by knowing our preferences.
Right. And then, taking it even a step further, you and I prefer to allow thinking and feeling into meditation. But there's a whole lot more that goes with that. Like, oh, I get new thoughts. Oh, what a helpful thought. Oh, that feeling is telling me something about how I best behave in this or that situation. I'm just giving a few examples, but we also have preferences for what comes from allowing thinking and feeling in meditation. But it doesn't mean that we have the better way, and it doesn't mean that we're the better meditators, better teachers.
Right.
That's where it goes awry. And that thought easily accompanies it, preferences.
And that's kind of one part of why we're bringing this up, is that I think it's very natural to start to have that conceit come with the preference. And
Mhm.
we are trying to interrupt it a bit, become more aware of it, not actually get down on ourselves because it's happening. It also, those conceits start to wear away. they've worn away a lot in the way we teach this practice, in the way we internally feel about this practice. Better for us, better for some people who are inclined this way, rather than looking at trying to make this the, reflective meditation, the way you should practice.
Right, right. And similarly, I truthfully never was able to meet the goal of not having preferences. That never really worked out for me. So I can't really speak to that, but we have a preference for being okay with having preferences.
Yes, we have that preference. And we kind of we say it's a proclivity, and for me it feels like a certain kind of wiring, but it also feels like a sankhara. It's been habituated. My preferences have habituated into what I choose and don't choose, but often it comes from what I can do. Like, for example, I really couldn't sit for long periods of time just focused on the breath. It really wasn't something I was able to do. So,
Hmm.
this practice came much easier to me. So, that kind of preference for it and proclivity towards it um, came from what my capacity was.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Right. And I think there's a lot of things, and that's why preferences are really actually quite complex. A lot of things that go into it. And we also want to bring up cultural or issues that go into it. Um, you know, uh, there's so much that, and family preferences and what we grew
right.
up in and what we became habituated to before we even knew we were becoming habituated, right?
Right, right. I was teasing with Nelly about, cutting the crusts off the sandwiches in my grade school signaled a higher class sandwich eater. But in my mind, that really stuck with me, that I get this brown bag of, sandwiches with crusts and I don't make the grade, so to speak, because of it.
Right. And again, there it is, the conceits. The conceits,
Lower.
there's signals, preferences signal something around culture and
Right.
often around conceits around culture. And it doesn't need to be. I mean, it could be simply that, different people, like different, well, certainly different cultures eat different foods. And um, but in this situation, for you anyway, I don't know if that was the general thing in your cafeteria at school, but
Yeah.
it was signaling a conceit.
Well, as a young person, it's kind of interesting to figure out, am I allowed to have preferences? Can I really, truly just enjoy what I enjoy? And we're picking up signals from the external world and how our pleasure impacts other people and how our preferences might diminish other people's preferences if they become too dominant. So, as usual, we're looking more at how do we live with and relate to our preferences? Like we have them, they're here. How are we going to
Right.
live with these?
They're human, they're animal. Um, and really, of course, once again, always it seems that really what this is about is, do our preferences lead to more harm, or not? I mean, do we have a preference for drinking many glasses of alcohol each evening? That could be called a preference, but it leads to harm. And so that's a problem. Um, I- so
Yeah,
that's really the cut for us. How do we live with these preferences? How do they impact others?
right. So we'll stop here. And I think I am ringing the bells for us this morning.